Minecraft worlds. Everyone has them. When you first got Minecraft, chances are the first thing you did was boot up a single player world. You chose the name, maybe even chose the state to be your user or something. Witnessed a satisfying loading animation if there was one, and then looked around for the first time in your new Minecraft world. But you've seen it before. This Minecraft world is identical to one you've already seen. But how? Minecraft worlds can't be the same. Or can they? Think about it. Minecraft worlds are infinite, in theory at least, and there's a finite number of blocks that can fit into a chunk, a 16 by 16 by 256 block area in your Minecraft world. So, theoretically, what if this Minecraft chunk, at these coordinates, an identical copy, appeared in a complete separate world at some other pair of coordinates, let's say 1 million, 1 million. Does there exist a Minecraft world where a certain chunk has an identical copy somewhere else in the world? Or in a completely different world with a completely different seed, can two identical chunks exist? Let's find out, and I hope you enjoy. Most of you will be familiar with a Minecraft seed. Not the wheat seed, but your world seed. A randomly generated or user inputted number that determines the layout of your Minecraft world. Frankly, I don't know much about how terrain generation works, but I do have some things to bring up. Consider this seed on screen right now. There are different formulas that apply the seed in different ways for different parts of the world, and one of them is for the generation of caves. Going through this formula, the seed on screen returns 0 on its second call. If you don't know what that means, you aren't alone. In essence though, the Minecraft world with the seed looks perfectly normal up top, but hop into spectator mode and look at the caves, and suddenly it becomes a whole lot cooler. The cave patterns are repeating along the z-axis. The exact ores and blocks aren't identical, but the shape of each cave certainly is. It's actually really cool to look at. And just a random quirk, this spawn around 400 blocks away has two chests right next to each other, something I didn't even know was possible and I haven't seen in my entire life. As we head further away, things get more and more chaotic, but they don't stop repeating either, and this continues. Another similar event happens with this seed, and it also repeats its caves along the x-axis. This too leads to some very cool looking generation with this pretty epic ocean temple pillar and this tiny mineshaft completely alone in this ocean. But get this, it becomes even more amazing and mind-blowing, because go to negative 1602, you begin to notice a pattern that was originally invisible due to the massive ocean, because it isn't only the caves that repeat, it's the mineshafts. In fact, this is an infinite mineshaft that will repeat all the way to the world border across the x-axis. It's super duper cool. We can confirm this by going to Mineshaft Finder, an outlet of this really useful website, and plugging our world seed in. As we've seen, we can confirm this mineshaft stretches infinitely in both directions along 0, z to the world border in both x's. And it's the only mineshaft in the entire world, which I think is super cool and really weird. The reason we didn't notice it before was because of the sprawling ocean, but had the biome been different, the mineshaft would have totally been visible. However, as cool as this phenomenon is, it doesn't really answer our original question. Can identical Minecraft chunks appear more than once in two different random worlds? As this seed, believe it or not, also has some underlying principles that caused its surreal behavior. Here's where it gets mysterious. Take a look at the seed on screen, 6, 4, etc. It's pretty normal, clearly. And when we load it in, there's this nice jungle biome with only one minor suspicious thing, this perfect circle at 20, negative 200. But if we travel to negative 360, 260, we are met with a ruined portal, pretty standard, with some cool loot in the chest and a little tree up front. Nothing too special just yet. But now, let's see what happens when we load up this seed. We spawn, pretty standard, and let's just head to negative 360, 260 on this world. It's the exact same ruined portal with the exact same chest loot, the exact same blocks, and the exact same tree is also there in the exact same place. And that's not all. All the surrounding grass blocks and caves in this chunk are identical, block for block, ores, stone, etc. We can continue moving around and find this ravine with a monster spawner, also identical in both worlds. The placement of ores, which is usually random, and the loot in the chests are exactly the same in both worlds, with a different seed. However, as you can tell, when I look around, the worlds aren't the same. Far from it, actually. It's just this little section of chunks that's identical for no apparent reason. It's super surreal to explore these worlds and just kind of take in the similarity between them. The caves, the grass, the flowers, nearly everything is block for block identical. But why? Honestly, I don't know. That's mainly what makes this an unsolved mystery. But I do have some clues. Plugging both the seeds into a decimal to binary calculator reveals an interesting quirk. This seed, 922 etc., turns into 63 ones. That's pretty weird on its own, but throw the other seed in, and it turns into 55 ones and 8 zeros, which is 63 total characters. So it's practically the previous seed with some random zeros swapped in instead of the ones. But this raises even more questions than it answers. Why does this effect happen, and what role does the seed play in terrain generation? Why is it only this specific part of the world that's affected and identical, and not other places like Spawn? Why aren't they the same? They're completely different. Does this duplication happen anywhere else in the world and not just here? But most interestingly, I think, what happens if we replace some of the other ones in the original seed with zeros? Will that duplicate too? Let's answer these questions one by one. To answer why this happens and what the seed's role is, I think you have to know a lot more about how terrain generation works, which admittedly is something I know very little about, but I'm sure some research can lead you into the right direction. As for the effect only happening here, well, we know the duplication happens elsewhere, hence the Mineshafts, but we can dig a little deeper. You see, I found these seeds on a forum post from 2010, saying that these two worlds were identical. I'm guessing block for block the same. Obviously, now we are shocked by these weird similarities, but it would be even more impressive to see two completely identical worlds. That would seem astronomically impossible. My theory is that the new biomes and terrain generators have something to do with it. You see, the reason some places would be identical but have, like, trees is the biome swaps. The ground is the same, but here there's a tree and here there isn't. Back in 2010, the terrain generator algorithm was a bit different, and there were far less biomes for Minecraft to pick from. The reason I think that these similarities occur here of all places is because this is the place in both worlds where the biome is completely the same. Both worlds have plains here, and thus their weird duality can happen for some weird reason that I don't know. In earlier versions, there were so few biomes, it would be easier for worlds to be identical. Still though, don't forget, we have still no idea why the seed has anything to do with it, and why the duplication happens in the first place. And that draws us to the next question. What if the biomes overlap somewhere else in the world? I mean, I wouldn't know. You can search the world for yourself if you're interested and want to find more identical biomes and maybe some more identical block for block chunks. But now time for the grand question. Are there more such worlds that have this block for block duplication? Well, I'm going to replace 8 random ones in the seed with zeros and just load it up and see what happens. So, here we are, doing this live, which is pretty cool. Here we're going to be doing something completely new. I've never tried it before. We're going to be choosing 8 random ones in this seed. I don't know if it has to be 8. We're going to choose 8 random ones, and I'm just going to do, I don't know, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And then we're going to be taking this seed right here and then loading it into Minecraft, We're gonna make a new world. We're gonna full screen the tab, and then now let's see. Let's just see. We're gonna go with quirky world. Why not? Go into creative, peaceful difficulty, and then enter in this seed. The results of this trial were interesting. I loaded up the world and I checked it out, and I was met with some pretty strange results. On both worlds, I did this trial and then another one where I replaced only one of the zeros, only one of the ones with a zero. I did not find a ruined portal at the matching coordinates, leading me to believe that I either replaced the part of the coordinates that was meant for the structure generation, or I'm just completely misguided on how this stuff actually works. Needless to say, if the forum post is to be trusted, there are 65,000 other seeds with this ruined portal, which is kind of food for thought, I guess. So I'm excited to see what anyone else can do with this, and maybe figure out why this works or how it works, because it's a super cool. But while all this is really cool, it doesn't answer our original question, because in one way or another, these seeds are linked. And while we don't know how, it slightly removes the randomness from the whole equation. Let's look back at our original question, because it has two different parts. One, can the same chunk appear in one Minecraft world more than once? And two, can the same chunk appear in two different Minecraft worlds, but at different coordinates, theoretically without linked seeds? So, instead of doing this a smart way, and learning about terrain generation, let's do it out with the math. We'll try to focus on the first question for now. Throughout this video, I've been saying the Minecraft world was theoretically infinite, but really, that's not true. So, how large is the Minecraft world? Well, know it or not, the farthest distance you can reach in a Minecraft world on both axes is about 30 million in either direction, positive and negative x and z. Meaning that the Minecraft world is a square with the origin at the midpoint, 30 million as the radius, thus totaling 60 million on each side, or 60 million times 60 million, 3.6 times 10 to the 15th, a bunch of big numbers, or in all, 3.6 quadrillion blocks in a Minecraft world. That's a lot of blocks, but how many chunks is it? Well, a chunk is just 16 by 16, and dividing 3.6 quadrillion by 16 times 16, or 256, gives us right about 14 trillion, 62 billion, 500 million different chunks. Which I'm literally just now realizing as writing the script that I could just found this in the Minecraft wiki had I looked it up instead of doing it out. But whatever. Now it's time for a basic probability question. First of all, let's talk about something called the pigeonhole principle. The pigeonhole principle, apart from having a very funny name, pretty much says that if we have n pigeons and m holes, and n is bigger than m, if we put all the pigeons into a hole, there will be at least one hole with more than one pigeon. That seems very obvious, and it is. It's also the key to solving this problem. Applying it here, it's a bit counterintuitive, but we have 14.06 trillion pigeons, or chunks, in a Minecraft world, and some number of pigeon holes. That being the number of possible chunks ever. So, I'll be honest with you, I'm going to speed this part up because this part of the video is super boring, and I'll quickly sum it up as best I can, talking pretty fast and probably speeding up at editing. It was a lot of math, and I really do not going to click off, so just bear with me. I had to find the number of possible chunks in Minecraft, and first I checked in the wiki, but it gave us an obscenely big number that I don't know how they got, so I ignored it. Next, I found the total number of blocks in a natural chunk, 16 times 16 times 200, which is pretty high, but whatever, mountains I guess, totaling 51,200 blocks. Then I had to find the total number of blocks in Minecraft. The Minecraft wiki helped again, but also kind of sucked because it had a list, but apparently no count. So after counting every single block in a spreadsheet, I got around 760 blocks in Minecraft. Cool. However, we're only looking at natural chunks, so I have to go for hours, block by block, removing all the ones that don't generate naturally in the world, like purple shulker boxes or zombie heads. I don't know. After removing all the non-natural blocks, I was left with around half at 360 blocks. Okay, 360 to the 51,200th power returned infinity in the calculator, which is a wee bit more than 14 trillion, so I think we're out of luck. I then removed all the blocks that spawned in awkward structures, like woodland mansions and strongholds, because for some reason there are so many random blocks in woodland mansions expansions, like, I don't know, dark oak saplings and potted allium, that never appear anywhere else in the whole game. I left only natural stuff as well as mineshaft structures and blocks, and now there was around 141 natural blocks in Minecraft, but still infinity, and last I checked, infinity was still a tad bit bigger than 14 trillion. I then had one more idea, and that was only to look at plains biomes. I used some very scuffed mathematics and assumptions to estimate the percentage that each world was made up, and used this model chunk to help visualize chunk distribution of blocks, with like this percent being air, this percent being stone, etc, etc, etc. With this new distribution, the total was far more manageable at 422,785,843,200 possible plain biome chunks, with assuming those plains biomes had no structures in them, like mineshaft, except mineshafts, like not including villages and strongholds. Now I had to find the total number of plains biomes chunks in a whole world. After some research, I found that around 9% of your world is plains, which is really massive by the way, and I knocked that down to 6% after accounting for the non-plain plains biomes. Finally, 6% of 14 trillion chunks is 8,571,000,000, or 8,571,812,500,000 pigeons to fill our 422 billion pigeon holes. So what does this mean? Well, if our math is to be trusted, then in every world, there are at least 2 identical plains chunks. However, our math is very scuffed and can't really be trusted, but that doesn't mean it's impossible. This video is called an Unsolved Mystery for a reason. There could be 2 worlds with identical chunks at different coordinates, and there could be 2 or even more identical chunks in a certain world we've just never seen before. And even though the chance is astronomically small, there could be 2 Minecraft worlds where one is an identical copy of the other, but just shifted 1 chunk in the X direction. It's a mystery, and for now, an unsolved mystery. Thanks for watching. So this video took hours of editing and researching to make, and all of my sources should be in the credit section of the description if you are interested in how I got my information. Thank you so much for watching this video. It took a lot of time and effort, and if you want to show your support, subscribing would be absolutely amazing and make it all worth it. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed, and I will see you next time. Have a good one.